What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to the True Gamer Podcast, the podcast hosted by two gamers for you, the True Gamers. I'm one of your hosts, Eddie, along with my bro, the inverted gamer himself, Shops. Bro, how you doing today?
Everything's going wrong. I just did that again, do you remember? Because I'm supposed to be doing this. Now the video's ruined.
The whole channel.
Delete the channel.
Delete the channel. I was going there as well. I was like, we're deleting the channel.
That's it.
It's done. You've ruined it. I'm sorry.
But also, unironically, everything's going poorly.
Yeah.
As you can see, my laptop is working perfectly.
Working perfectly. How close to the edge of death is it?
So it has been telling me that I need to get the battery serviced for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
But it's not bulging or anything. It's not like the battery's expanded. It just, there's something wrong with it.
Right, okay.
And it doesn't like using battery power. So I've had to use it wired the whole time. But because of the way I'm in a small flat, and I didn't mind that anyway. And you know what I'm like with my phone. Like, stuff's always at, like, if it's at 90% battery, I'm worried about it, you know? So that didn't bother me. But the other day, it just won't. Yeah, it's dead. So I need to replace the battery. And hope that's it fixed, innit?
I hope so. The battery thing actually bothers me that it doesn't bother you as much, because like you just said, you like your battery to be like 100%, if not 99%.
Yeah.
And the fact that the battery is like dead or dying. I would have thought that would be like, nah, I can't live this way.
No, because in my head, it just became like a desktop that was portable.
Oh, I see. So yeah, okay, cool. So it wasn't even, the battery didn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. Literally. So I didn't ever have to worry about it.
Okay, that I understand.
It's so dumb. Don't. Let's not even dig into it, because it's like levels of psychosis that aren't. You know, I'm like already psycho enough with my battery.
This is like the argument, like with women that say like the man or the bear in the woods and whatnot. It's like there's no logic here. It's just stupidity. We just need to go with it.
It's like my girl maths, but for battery. Like, okay, it's at 90%. You need to worry. 80%. It's basically gonna die.
Right.
What about you, man? How's things?
Life for me is going pretty good. We had Mario, Jas, and Ben round the day before we went to ComicCon here. We had lots of laughs, played some games together. They got to try out the VR headset, the PlayStation VR 2 headset, and it was great fun seeing them. No one threw up, but you know what's really funny is that maybe it's because we're YouTubers. We especially like me. I'm used to being a bit more emotive and stuff like that. You've said that in the past about me and whatnot. When Mario played it, he was so immersed in it and enjoying himself, he didn't say anything.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Mario's quite a reserved guy.
Maybe he doesn't like it. Maybe he doesn't like this. And then he gets off and he's like, wow, that was amazing,
it's
man.
A very,
I was like, you could just say
very
something.
like Dutch type thing to do. Just be like, that was pretty amazing.
That was amazing.
Yeah, like, that was the best experience of my life. Terrible accent. That's not his accent.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just doing an accent.
Anyway, that was cool. We went to MCM Comic-Con together. Yeah. We all got dressed up. We all got dressed up as PlayStation characters, including Zach.
Yeah. I went as an NPC.
You went as an NPC. Zach went as the PlayStation character Spider-Man.
Yes.
Because that's raining as hell outside, right? The PlayStation character known as Spider-Man.
Everybody knows.
We have now adopted that as that is. I was just saying, this is the most Sony pony thing you could ever say. Spider-Man is PlayStation. What are you talking about?
I mean, Sony IP. How many? There's like 7 Sony movies.
Specifically, it's a PlayStation IP. It's not,
with you.
It's a PlayStation thing.
With you, yeah.
We invented it.
It's true.
Spider-Man wasn't a hero until PlayStation came along. Anyway,
Stanley who?
It was good. It was great fun. It was really great fun.
Stan-san.
Exactly.
Or would it be Lee-san? Whatever.
I don't know, actually. He's well known in Japanese culture. It was a great fun time, and we had some good laughs and whatnot, and it was a great time. If any of you guys also, when we went to MCM Comic-Con, we also checked out a panel from the guys we've mentioned before, Spores Productions. Yeah. You need to check them out if you are a Final Fantasy VII fan. They made a Final Fantasy VII music video. I've only played the demo, and I like the demo.
Of the remake.
Yeah. I don't know anything else about Final Fantasy. Oh, sorry, Final Fantasy 16 I played as well, which was a very nice one. But even I was like, oh my God, I can see like the imagery you're doing in this and what the characters clearly...
There was some really great cuts.
Right? And then when I spoke to them afterwards, I was like, are their characters supposed to be like supposed to be like mirror images of each other, and they're like, yeah, that's exactly. I was like, I got it because you're so good at storytelling through this medium.
It was
anyway. It was fantastic, beautiful. You guys should go check it out.
It was a great video. There was some I don't usually do the visual storytelling medium sort of thing. Like, look at the cuts, but like actually that was brilliant. It was really good. They're
and
really
the music
talented.
as well was fucking a bop. I was like,
it was great
in the crowd.
It was really good.
And also they're making a Uncharted fan film very soon.
That looks good.
That looks super cool.
From the one shot we saw, it actually looks sick.
They teased a bit with
Nathan and is it Chloe playing Crash Bandicoot?
Yeah, they're playing Crash Bandicoot on the sofa, and it was just such a cool little shot right there. I was like, oh, this is fantastic right here. Anyway, that was how cool life was going right there. But unfortunately, we've got some not so great gaming news to be talking about this week.
Okay.
Bear in mind, guys, just a fair warning.
Ask the bear.
This news is going to be a little bit late. You may have heard about this, but we do want to have the conversation regardless.
Okay.
Our schedules got really messed up, and it means it's been 3 weeks since we last spoke. And obviously, this news came out the day after we recorded.
Yes.
So 3 weeks late, but we can't exactly neglect it. So
yeah, cool.
And the same with the Conbrosations podcast where we talk about the Superman suit. That happened the day after. It was like, oh, bro, can we record tomorrow so we can get this news out? Fell through immediately. I fell sick.
Immediately.
And and now 3 weeks later, we're going to talk about it as if it was brand new news.
Well, we're professionals. That's
true Conbrosations fashion right there. Okay. Before we get into that, though, let's thank our super bros who support us over at patreon.com/Conbrosations, who keep the lights and mics on, the gaming going here, and get a little bit of extra content over there. If you guys want to go join us, you can go do that. Thank you so much. Thank you to Sheps's Crusty Right Nut.
Christ.
Yeah. Thank you, Sheps's Crusty Right Nut. You're amazing. Sucking.
No.
And bear many children.
Don't want the support.
Thank you both for your support.
Thank you.
And thank you to anyone else who over there. We'll get to a few more names afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Our first topic. Microsoft announces the closure of 3 Bethesda studios as part of their...
They're closing studios?
As part of their reprioritization of titles and resources. Actual quote. This comes after Microsoft overpaid to purchase ZeniMax Studios, the parent company of Bethesda, and overpaid and endured a lengthy legal battle to buy Activision Blizzard, calling into question yet again whether or not Microsoft, along with the Xbox's leader Phil Spencer, is indeed the savior of gaming, as some Xbox extremists are claiming. If they're willing to overpay for publishers, but then cut thousands of jobs in order to balance out their questionable spending, jobs that could have been safe prior to the acquisition from Microsoft.
Yeah.
These 3 studios. It's a very depressing topic because there's tons of layoffs happening in the industry. A lot of them coming from Microsoft, and after spending so much money, it just smells so bad.
It seems weird to be like, we need to get this thing because it's good, and then as soon as you get it, like, well, we need to cut costs because that was expensive. Well, like, why did you?
Maybe you couldn't afford it. Maybe this wasn't in your budget.
Right. Doesn't seem healthy. You know how we've always said the reason I worry about this is that it doesn't seem good for the industry as a whole. And then what happens? They come in and just axe a bunch of people. Oh, it's crazy, and we're not even that smart.
Right.
Sorry, you were saying that
barely average.
Barely.
The studios that have been axed include Alpha Dog Studios, which is a mobile game studio, whose most recent game was Mighty Doom on iOS devices and things like that. Arcane Austin, previously known for making Dishonored games, very well loved, but most recent game was Redfall. My apologies. Sorry.
Just have a quick sip.
Sorry, but just compose myself.
Yeah. Ironically, the single most notable game that they've put out in about 5 years, just because it was spoken about.
Yeah, exactly. And Tango Gameworks, whose last game was Hi-Fi Rush, Xbox's most critically successful game in the last 3 years, loved by fans and recently ported to Nintendo and PlayStation in Xbox's new transition into becoming a third-party publisher.
This one gets a bit worse. Do you know how that this gets worse?
There is some stuff, but what do you want to say about it?
Do you know about the CEO?
No, go ahead.
So after they closed Tango, the next day they tweeted, it's time to invest in small studios. Is that coming?
Yeah.
Is that?
I can say it right now if you want to say it. Basically, Matt Booty afterwards, the day after. So there was a meeting.
24 hours less.
There was a meeting in the Microsoft town hall where they announced all of the closure of these things, told people they were losing their jobs, etc. In that same spot, the day after, 24 hours later, Matt Booty goes up on stage and he goes to announce we need smaller games. This is a quote. We need smaller games that give us prestige and awards. Games like Hi-Fi Rush.
Did he actually name? Did he say? Mate.
Microsoft needs to make more games like Hi-Fi Rush.
By the way, we're closing Tango.
And just previously, 24 hours ago, in that same spot, they announced that they're closing the studio and axing the jobs of the people that made that game.
Genuinely at this point, and this isn't like a Sony pony versus Xbox thing. It's it's objectively true that Xbox is doing the most damage.
By a huge margin.
So I've seen a lot more people complaining about the Helldivers thing and what Sony did. And I get the point there. I do get it. But what Xbox is doing is worse. It is objectively worse. You might be more emotionally connected to the Helldivers thing, but what Xbox is doing is worse for the average gamer is worse off for the last 10 years of Xbox.
It's one of those situations where because there aren't a lot of Xbox gamers, not speaking negatively, it's a smaller base. It's a smaller fan base. There are less people invested in buying games in Xbox and whatnot. There is less of an immediate effect on people. However, people like us who have been saying this for the past decade, there's a grander picture to look at here that affects every single gamer. And that's where this is what you're saying, that this is the biggest thing to affect us, because it's not like we're saying the whole industry.
It's not like we've just started saying it. We've been saying this since 2017 when they mentioned Game Pass, and we was like, I don't know if that's actually a good idea. I get that it's affordable, but we'll have to see what comes out on there. And then there's nothing good. You speak to indie devs and smaller dev houses, and you say, well, what's the best way for people to support you? And they go, buy the game on Steam. Wait, so you not Game Pass then? Okay, cool. And then you see developers coming out and saying, actually, maybe this wasn't a good idea for us. And then they make nothing with their own studios and pour God's amounts of money, dragons' hordes, into acquiring IPs that then they do nothing with the IPs that they already have, and then kill a studio that made literally the best thing that's on their platform and has been on since probably 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And easily the most profitable, most highly, most award-winning, right, most well-spoken of. They kill that, then complain they don't have enough of it. That, it's just constant, fails. It's constant bad decision making, and at scale, we've been right. They buy EA, Activision
Blizzard.
That's what I said. Activision Blizzard. Why did I say EA? They buy Activision Blizzard, axe thousands of jobs. Those are the people that made the products you wanted to buy. You can't buy a woodworking company and then sack your carpenters and then wonder why your product's failing, right? That's not how this works. And consistently, those are the decisions that they make. The Hi-Fi Rush is really egregious because they axe them less than 24 hours later. And then 24 hours after, I think it's 24 hours after that, the CEO was on the news and was asked that question, and she just gave, it was just word salad.
Do you want to, we should hear the
let me pull it up on my laptop. I feel naked. I was saying earlier, when you leave your house and you check your phone and it's not there?
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
We are going to listen to Sarah Bond, who was asked the question about why Hi-Fi Rush developer Tango Works was shut down, despite them being one of their most successful
exactly what they asked for.
So I'm going to turn the volume up here so you guys can hear it as well, and we can all listen.
Why
to
don't
it
you do
together.
some editing for once and just cut the audio?
That sounds good to me. It's only a minute long, so we'll get. Listen, guys. Oh, hold on.
Yeah, no.
Twitter videos are great.
I mean, you've got shit internet here, don't you? It's only 1
Terrible
gigabit.
internet.
It's only gigabit fiber.
Oh my god, am I going to have to refresh this blue page?
It's only 1,000 up and 1,000 down.
One of the things that was most upsetting both to Xbox gamers and to employees is that, you know, one of the shuttered studios in particular just created a hit game, did really well on Game Pass in terms of engagement, and won a ton of awards. Shouldn't succeeding in that way ensure the future of a studio?
You know, one of the things I really love about the games industry is it's a creative art form. And it means that the situation and what success is for each game and studio is also really unique. Like there's no one size fits all to it for us. And so we look at each studio, each game team, and we look at a whole variety of factors when we're faced with sort of making decisions and trade-offs.
That makes sense.
Like that. But it all comes back to our long-term commitment to the games we create, the devices we build, the services, and ensuring that we're setting ourselves up to be able to deliver on those promises.
So I bring it back to the question that I asked about Tango Gameworks and shutting them down. A bunch of words have just said nothing there.
when you said we want small developers to make highly, critically acclaimed, award-winning games, and then you have a developer that did exactly that and you close them, what does that mean? Oh, well, words and some noise.
She just says...
And also vis-a-vis synergy.
She just says things in the game industry that are correct, but absolutely pertain in no way to the question that was asked.
Also, the question was, you said you want this thing, and you have a company that highly succeeded in that thing. Shouldn't that mean that they're safe? And her answer was, well, we judge success differently by, just because you hit exactly what we needed. I have seen one thing which really muddies the water, which I absolutely hate, is some people were like, you just don't like the answer because she's a woman, or because she's black, or because she's a black woman. It's like, no, hold on a minute. First of all, like, I'm full simpage here. She just needs an afro, and I'm like,
she's pretty
I'm willing.
looking.
She's and also clearly pretty sharp.
Yeah,
because she managed to fluff all of that out of thin air, caught off guard, and somehow completely avoid the question, and somehow convince that dog shit interviewer that was an answer. Because if it was you or me, I would go, okay, great. I get that you support, you're really keen on supporting the products. What about answering the question you're asked?
Yeah, Bloomberg, top notch as usual.
Just dog shit.
That journalism is just so great. They just allowed her to move on. It was like, what the fuck?
Like, no, sorry. Like, Sarah, I think we need to...
So, back to the question.
Yeah, that you
rambling about something else.
You cut a critically acclaimed, award-winning small dev house that made one of your most successful games, and then within 24 hours, literally named them as the sort of thing you need more of. What happened there?
The top comment on here is from a guy called Benji Sales. You may see his things every now and again. He does analysis of like the industry and stuff like that. He's fairly impartial and whatnot. He goes, no disrespect to Sarah here, but her answer doesn't remotely address any of the good and valid questions presented by Dina. Nothing in this response gives any sort of justification for shutting down Tango. Exactly.
Yeah, not at all. And the big problem with that is he missed a point about the interviewer, which is she asked some good questions, but allowed absolute non-answers, just waffle. She might as well have just said noise, 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 words, words, words. Yeah. Xbox customer service value.
What she did was essentially the jokes that we see in like American politics, where they're like 9/11. Bad. Oh, it's that dumb shit that like there's no substance in the words you just said. You're just trying to make it sound like you've said something and then move on. And like you said, the reason why we don't hold the journalists accountable is because we all in the back of our minds know.
We know. And it's a Bloomberg journalist.
Exactly.
But this is the thing, is like this is the corporate joke of like seeing one of those corporate ads of like, your freedom is at risk. Don't let free speech impeach your freedom. It's like, wait, hold on a minute. You know, like, and people are like, yeah, free speech is ruining our freedom.
Damn free speech coming in here.
Like, it's kind of worrying. And the big problem, and this is one of the reasons that I think we genuinely dislike journalists so much, is that they're supposed to be the mouthpiece. They're supposed to ask the questions. There's a reason Lois Lane is a journalist. She's an investigative journalist. Yeah. She asks the questions. She uncovers, the mysteries and whatever, and then holds those people accountable, or allows those people to be held accountable because she brought things to light. Yeah. That's why she's a freaking hero. That's why she goes up with Superman. Like,
and there's a reason why she's fictional, is because that doesn't exist in real life.
Well, and also Superman's a freaking journalist.
It's true. Like, it's true.
Like it's really bothering when the people that are supposed to be asking the questions that you want answers to, they'll ask the question, but if they don't get an answer, go, okay, cool. Next question that you cannot answer.
Yeah.
It's that's really frustrating. And what do you think is the point of, like, what do you think Xbox is up to?
I think it's desperation. I think it's desperation.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a solid idea plan. Maybe there's a plan on how to stay afloat.
Yeah.
But it's not, we have this grand plan and this is our staircase to success. Yeah. If we do this, then customers will come in here, because everything they're doing here isn't bringing customers in. It's just the necessary stuff they feel like they have to do in order to hopefully get into a position where they don't have to do it anymore. I think they bought all these things.
Yeah.
These are high value stuff that bring in a lot of profit and whatnot, like Call of Duty, etc. and stuff like that. They made a gamble with Bethesda, and as soon as they touched it, it all just went to shit.
I mean, Bethesda wasn't exactly killing it before.
Yeah, but it's true. They weren't killing it.
This thing, they're buying names, and like, especially names that aren't exactly worth it per se at the time.
Yeah, Bethesda's a tough one because it has in the past produced,
we know they
greatness.
can. Deathloop was really well regarded.
Exactly, and just
that
when you
was
think
Bethesda,
of,
wasn't it?
Yeah, when you think of Elder Scrolls, you're like, oh, that fucking might be a good thing.
Big name,
maybe Skyrim, that's maybe the next
Big
one
name.
could bang as well, just as
Big
much.
names.
However, that's still yet to be seen. And what should have banged was Starfield, because it was like going to be the next Bethesda RPG.
Yeah.
But again, they got involved and somehow everything just fell to crap.
Yeah.
I think all of this stuff is literally just, we're going to stupidly overpay for all of this stuff just so we can buy our way into safety. That's what they're pitching. And I'm sure that's what they pitched to the Microsoft CEOs in order to get that cash. They went, if we buy Activision, then we are guaranteed to not die, because they produce 10 billion in revenue every single year. We can't lose if we have that. Except they don't, unfortunately, they're businessmen. They don't understand the nuances of how they can fuck things up if they mess with it too much. And one of the things we're going to talk about later, bringing Call of Duty to Game Pass, is a severe T-bone into the side of that moving vehicle.
Yeah.
And is it going to knock it completely off track, or is it going to wiggle it and it's going to still stay on course? Who knows? Well, yet to see. I think all of this stuff is just, they're hoping to do all of the crap now, get down the studios into the core ones that hopefully make them enough money.
But they've had those. But yeah, sorry, you're saying.
And then go, all right, from here on, we're gonna be okay. I don't think they have a plan for going forward. I don't think they have a plan going, right, if we keep X, Y, and Z studio, then we give them the IP or we give them the budget, and then they produce greatness, and then we continue to build. I think they're just purely on survival mode. They're like, this isn't going to help us survive, get rid of that. This isn't going to help us survive, get rid of that. This isn't going to help us survive, get rid of that.
Also, have great taste in what's not going to help them survive, innit?
Stupid. Well, that's the thing. That comes down to, what was it, Steve Jobs that said a long time ago, that they don't have like the soul, they don't have the passion of what was it he said?
I don't know. Let me look it up on my laptop. Oh.
Yeah, please do. No, he said something about like they lack, I think it was soul or passion or the heart of something of a company that makes stuff. They're soulless essentially.
Yeah.
And it's evident in so many things. Like, Sony make great games, they can't seem to do the same thing in the same space. It's so strange. But anyway, that's my thing. What do you think?
honestly, I think this shows how important it is to realize when you've made a mistake and stop. And genuinely, I think this is because of Game Pass. In 2017, they go all in on Game Pass and cannot turn around. And I think all these decisions are getting made because they're not willing to change Game Pass to make it profitable, because they know that their small player base will leave without that, because they've trained them to be that way. And they're not willing to take the hit up front to make great things and bring people back. And so they have to do these things to like have their shell game of money. I think it just comes back to Game Pass, and that's a good life lesson. If you realize you're making a bad decision, don't just keep investing. If you build your house on sand, don't just keep fixing things up, because like, no, you have to cut your losses and build your house on rock, build good foundations. If you start with a bad foundation that has no future in it, at least the way you present it, and then you train your people to not pay for your games. Let
me quickly talk about this one bit that I actually put later, but it's regarding Game Pass and this bad decision and going on like that. I started off as a question. I was like, why is it that Phil Spencer still has a job?
It's a good question, isn't it? Because
in the Xbox One era, I think Phil was an asset. I think when Don Matrick fucked everything up and the Xbox One was going straight down, I think Phil Spencer was an asset.
So.
He needed
Good
to
spin.
Yeah, people needed to project confidence. They needed to convince people that the ship will get turned around. Exactly. The ship will get turned around eventually. We just need a little bit of time, and we'll invest into it, and we'll get into it. Yeah. And I think he did that job so successfully that at that time, while people were like feeling rocky about it, there was still a ton of Xbox fans out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of extremists out there that still persist to this day, which just goes to testament to how good of a job he did, that even today...
He's a good cult leader.
The Phil Spencer, the Paris Lilies of the people out there, the Colt Eastwoods and all the other Xbox extremists out there can still stick by him despite a decade of producing slop.
Yeah, just nothing that is beneficial and nothing of value.
Right.
Your biggest hits are Starfield.
Yeah.
Or Hi-Fi Rush that you just axed.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Hi-Fi Rush was a contender. Like, Hi-Fi Rush was like, okay, it's small, it's niche, but actually that is a good game.
Yeah.
Didn't really come out of Xbox, came out of it's not quite the same.
It was kind of like they inherited it by buying it and whatnot, so causing to question whether or not they had anything to do with it.
Which, I would go as far as say it's pretty obviously had nothing to do with it, because it was a good game.
Yeah.
And that is not, and specifically, and bring up Bethesda again, Deathloop was good. Why? Xbox management had nothing to do with it. Yeah. Xbox management gets involved, they produce nothing. They produce garbage. Yeah. And I think it's obvious every time Xbox is actually involved in the decision-making of a game, it goes poorly. Every time they acquire something and then get involved, it goes poorly. Yeah. Like, just buy it, fund it, get out of their way. Okay, some ideas.
So I don't understand how he still has a job, because now is not the time for that same political speak, project confidence, fake it till you make it type thing.
Yeah.
Now's the time we need those gems. We need the results. And it's been that way for a good number of years. We've needed results, and still those results haven't come. So why does he still have a job? Any other company would be like, okay, you've failed to meet the criteria.
Right.
And apparently Phil Spencer was the one that pitched the whole Xbox Game Pass idea.
It was him, yeah.
So and at the beginning as well, there's a quote here from Richard Irving, apparently voicing concerns for Game Pass in the beginning when the idea was pitched, along with all these other Xbox internal people. I'm going to read this little quote here. Mr. Spencer was at the center of pushing this strategy forward in meetings. Phil Spencer's staff would present arguments as to why Game Pass wouldn't work, publishers wouldn't participate, or that it would eat into profits, recalled Mr. Irving, the former Xbox staffer. But Phil Spencer wouldn't relent. In quotes, he said he wouldn't take no for an answer, Mr. Irving, who was present in those early meetings. He would always try to find a way to make it work. it's admirable in the beginning when you're trying to get a new idea off of the ground, if you think it has some merits. When everyone is telling you no, it doesn't, there's questions to be raised.
Yeah.
But like you said, and this is bringing it back to the point you made earlier about when to give up on things like that, we're now 6 years later.
Yeah. No, 7.
7 years later. And there's single digit, here we go, this comes after closing arcades where Xbox Game Pass has also not seen the growth that leadership has been hoping for, with non-mobile gaming subscription spending flat to low single digits in growth since 2021.
Which is also massively behind what they need to even break even.
Exactly.
And the thing is, you're saying about that sort of almost delusional, no, we'll make it work.
Yeah.
Right? Now, in fairness, the stories where that's admirable are in hindsight because it was the right answer.
True.
So, fair enough. However, and to be upfront, I think a version of Game Pass, there is a timeline where there's a Game Pass that is good, where, I mean, I've pitched it and they just need to have the guts to do it and say, look, we're not bringing these AAA titles to you day and date. Right? You don't get that. Yeah. We don't make any money. We're going to die if we do this. Like, we can't do it. There's a timeline where these games, like how PC go, well, it comes to PC eventually. It should come to Game Pass eventually. There's a timeline where that happens, and they start investing in these bangers because people don't want to wait 6 months to play the thing. They get it. And then, well, actually, we can make money if we make some good games. Let's just make some good games. There's a timeline where that happens. And, okay, Phil Spencer sees like Netflix and stuff in 2017 and goes, okay, we're going to do that, but for gaming. I get that. But they know this isn't working. They've known for a long time this wasn't working. They have these projected targets they've never once hit. They're nowhere close to breaking even. At some point, you have to say like, okay, this isn't working. And just blindly following something that isn't working isn't a good idea. And it seems like the strategy now is to buy everything, kill the industry so that Game Pass is working, because like we say the problem with writing in movies is instead of writing a strong character, they bring other strong characters down.
Yeah.
Feels like they're trying to drag the gaming industry down so that Game Pass is competitive and good. And it's like, let's not do that.
One of the concerns we were saying is that if you buy up all the competition or buy everything and make it so it's available on Game Pass, then does that mean that Game Pass kind of has to succeed because everything is there? And
then you get perfect examples of this, like a new game that's come out recently. Have you seen Animal World? Have you heard of this?
Animal World, no.
Animal World it's tiny. It's like 35 megabytes.
Okay.
Made by one guy, and it's sort of like a jump puzzle type game, sort of like a Mario type thing. People are sinking hundreds of hours into this thing. It's got these incredible puzzles. Like it's massively successful. It's built by one guy who had passion, and people are coming to see that. Like, I think indie is probably going to be the only thing that's worth looking at for people on the Xbox and let's say the people that are their go-to is Game Pass.
Yeah,
I think they're going to start really looking to indie if they don't come to PlayStation. And also, I don't want them to come to PlayStation. They're filthy, disgusting. You deserve it. You made your own bed sleeping. No, like, I want the competition. I want the competition for Sony, because Sony is I mean, we saw it with Helldivers 2. They are full of suits who will make awful decisions at the cost of the player base, at the cost of money. Like, these are terrible decisions. It's objectively a bad decision to do everything they did, especially with Helldivers and the way that they did it. That's not a good thing. I don't care about actual Sony ponies and simps going, well, it's always in the terms of it. No, but if you don't actually require it and then suddenly do require it, like, you can't sell people. Like, if someone did that with a car, if Tesla sold a car and they're like, by the way, you will need a subscription service, and then they never mention it, and then 4 years down the road, they're like, oh, by the way, you need to activate your Tesla with the subscription. That wouldn't be okay.
Just as a quick aside, I heard a story, apparently Linksys modems, routers, they actually do that. I don't know which specific one it is. I just heard a story of a guy who was like, I bought a router and 2 years later it stopped working. And he was like, I'm a kind of a tech savvy guy, so I went into it to try and figure it out, and it wouldn't connect to the internet. It said the internet was coming in, but it just wouldn't project that internet into my house. And he couldn't figure out exactly what was going on. They called up Links. It's like, oh yeah, your subscription expired. It's like, what do you mean subscription? Subscription for you to be able to access your internet. And I was like, wait, what? I purchased the thing. There's no subscription. What are you talking about?
Like, imagine you trying to...
It comes with a 2-year subscription. You have to upgrade it after that.
Imagine your washing machine came like that.
Oh.
No. So, first of all, vote with your money. Never buy a product like that, ever. If it's in the T's and C's, like, you've seen this stuff happen now, don't ever do that. But secondly, like, if you don't need it to begin with, you don't need it.
Yeah.
Right? So, like... Sony are also suits. They do make awful decisions. Every time they do, we rip into them.
Yeah.
The only reason this Helldivers one seems like we're less against Sony than we actually are is that other things happened at the same time that were objectively worse.
Yeah. And on the grand scheme of things, it does seem smaller. It's like, they weren't asking for money. It was asking for you to make a free account. And I was like...
The big thing about that is how exclusionary it is.
Yeah,
like
there are
all of
countries
Russia,
that
China, like a bunch of countries.
But
can't
they're not
do
me,
it.
so I don't care.
Exactly, get fucked.
No, I'm joking.
But you like that.
Not to excuse it. I'm just trying to.
And also, the big problem is people came out at such a high level, screaming, like pulling their hair out, setting themselves on fire about this thing. And you're like, well, actually, the problem is here. It doesn't need to be up there, and so because of that, it isn't that big a deal. Whereas if people had just said, oh, we don't know what to think, we would have come out and been like, fuck Sony. We would have been like, no, if you didn't need it to begin with, you shouldn't need it. Like, you're excluding all these people, but the problem is they came out 100 and the problem was a 50.
We have that thing, don't we, where we're like, when people overreact, we're like,
it's just hypocrisy. We can't stand hypocrisy.
We need to be measured, otherwise we're not taken seriously in any regard.
Right.
So if you don't, just chill out for a little bit. This is bad. Let's take it appropriately.
And then also, just to, again, keep laying into Sony a bit, like they said, well, we're going to reverse it, and people changed their their reviews, which they shouldn't have done until it was reversed, because they didn't actually reverse it. They just made it so you can't purchase it in any country that doesn't allow you to have PSN, which isn't the same.
I wonder what the deal is with that. Actually,
who cares? Fuck them. They're suits.
Why wouldn't they just want more money from these people?
Because they're mugs.
I don't get it.
They're suits.
There's always I like to know these things, because sometimes I like the interesting intricacies of like business and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And also I like to find out the bullshit reasons. It's like, that's just dumb. You've put yourself in that situation.
Also, like, okay, you can't make a PSN there for whatever reason, but you did manage to farm a ton of money out of these guys.
Yeah.
Look at this. You're missing out on money. Just don't make it. Like, just what are you doing? It's insane.
Speaking of how bad, well, let's wrap this whole thing up first of all. This is terrible, and this is exactly the stuff that we was trying to warn everybody about. All the people on the internet as well that were trying to warn people about when they bought Bethesda and ZeniMax, and then when they went to
they overpaid for it. We said it's not a good idea to overpay for a thing, because then you're going to have to like streamline it, i.e. gut it, and then all the people that could have made anything good, you know, and also they paid for, ZeniMax makes movies and stuff, so they paid for that, but they're not using it. Yeah. So it's like, well, what are we doing? Also, it might have helped in the Halo show. Maybe. And then the overpaying of Activision Blizzard, we were like, look, this is if we're okay with this, it's a really bad precedent. It's going to go down a really dark rabbit hole. We're not going to be able to come back from it. Maybe we should just say no. And the worst case scenario when we say no is that the industry continues as it is right now, as in we still get video games. The only thing that could happen is that we still continue to get the video games, or it gets worse. Right. I think it was better off to go with the stay how it is. The options with Microsoft involved are Overwatch 2 and Starfield. And like, yes, those are video games, but the reason you and I love video games is because they are the peak entertainment form, and they don't have to be AAAs. Like, we played Pokemon Red and Blue back in the day on black and white. Well, they were like, there was 1.5 colors on those original Game Boy screens. That was it was better than reading a book. It was better than reading a comic, right? It was better than watching a movie. we like games because they're engaging, and we've played smaller indies. So we played Plague's Tale Requiem, that's smaller.
Yeah.
Like I've played a few small games. Like we want good games, and if what drives the industry and the industry's success is the top level, if that goes away, the lower bit drops down because the customer base isn't there for the indie guys. It's not there for the smaller titles.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a reason, because movies like The Avengers spoke to so many people, or were engaging for so many people to see. Comic book movies are now much more popular because they can hit a larger audience. People can pay for them. So smaller stories can get made. Less well-known heroes can be. See, Ant-Man. Who'd heard of Ant-Man before the movie?
Didn't even care about Ant-Man.
Like, I think I knew about him tangentially from one of the old 90s cartoons, you know?
Yeah.
This guy's got 3 movies.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's because the customer base is there, and there's a formula that works to, you know, to some extent. I'm not saying they're the best movies ever, but like they're engaging. And that means that there are now more comic book sales happening, and there are more indie artists with indie comics happening, because people are like, oh man, the thing that inspired the thing that I enjoyed, maybe I should check that out.
Yeah.
And it has nothing but negative knock-on effects, nothing. And without good competition, Sony is run by suits. They will stop making us the games that are the reason we simp over them.
I mean, they've been already on a path to more safe decisions than taking any risks or new IPs and stuff like that. I think it was Zacchino. Let me just pull this up quickly. He sent me a tweet from someone who quoted Sony back in the day talking about their portfolio. I'm going to pull up right here. Here we go. So this was Sony saying this right now. It goes, many companies would insist on sticking to profitable franchises, but SIE's culture and philosophy empowers us to pursue new ideas. And then it's just a Wikipedia screenshot from 2013 to 2024 of Naughty Dog's catalog. The Last of Us Left Behind, The Last of Us Remastered, Uncharted 4 Thieves End, Uncharted 4 Lost Legacy, The Last of Us Part 2, Uncharted Lost Legacy Thieves Collection, Last of Us Part 1, Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. It's just the same blur of grey. And that's what PlayStation is on a track at the moment.
It is.
Without the competition, they may go even deeper into that. Like, fuck it. Only Uncharted, only Last of Us. Horizon has already made a footing. We'll only do that. Spider-Man's made a footing. We'll only do that.
Can we maybe not release Horizon next to Elden Ring and Zelda games?
It's going to be
please?
next to the next big game. That's what it'll be.
Can we just not do that? Even I feel bad for those games, you know? But this is it. Is like they will slip. They will do something that's more profitable. They will cut if there's content that should be in the game but it's expensive, they'll cut it. If there's content that just pads out the game because it's easy to do, just add 100 more question marks and make the runtime go longer so that we can say it's 50 hours like time to beat. They'll start to do it. And Ubisoft's a perfect example. Ubisoft had no real competition. It sort of operated in its own thing. And what are the last good things they made? What? Assassin's Creed, was it?
Black Flag.
Black Flag,
that was
probably.
The last good thing, I think.
And then like the Division 1. And then the only good thing in the Division 2 was the party system.
Yeah.
And that got ignored. And like, what else have they done? I mean, Rainbow Six, forget that. But like...
We don't know. Shadow could be the next... Return to form, but who knows?
Are we going to talk about Shadow?
We can talk about it a little bit later. Yeah, sure. I didn't put it on the list.
Didn't you want to talk about COD?
Yeah, so...
While we're bitching about Xbox.
So here's the thing. So Xbox... Call of Duty is supposed to be coming out. It's going to be revealed properly after the Xbox Showcase this month coming up in June. And on that same interview with Sarah Bond, she was also asked about Call of Duty because it's still up in the air whether or not it'll be on Game Pass or exclusivity or what will happen like that. It won't be exclusive. We know that. Care about that. In fact, there's actually rumors coming out based on pre-orders going around that it's going to be coming to last-gen consoles as well. So that right there.
Jesus Christ, that's 4 years old.
Yep.
Honestly, that's no good for the people on last gen. That's not a good thing for them. You're going to be going up against. I mean, think about if you're on crossplay, you're going up against a PC player on a 4090 with 64 gigs of DDR6 RAM. Like,
Unfortunately,
you don't want to go up against like doing all the slide cancel bullshit.
Unfortunately, Call of Duty, because of the size of it, because of the behemoth it is, the only objective is to make money.
Yes.
If they see the
and fair enough,
the 10 billion that comes in, they're like, we need to put this everywhere. Can we put it on mobile phones as well? We'll do that.
It's coming to the Samsung Galaxy 2.
Yeah. Anyway, Sarah Bond was asked. The question was like, and the last little bit about Game Pass. We know our core users love Game Pass. Game Pass is a gaming subscription where you get a whole portfolio of games. But
she explained it. Fantastic.
But yeah, she has to say something in this interview. Otherwise,
nice ad, Sarah.
But importantly, you get every single one of the games we build day one in Game Pass, and the quality. And the quality and the breadth of those games has only been going up over time. That's a statement.
This is the thing. Like Xbox has no shame. Sorry, please continue. No shame.
They really don't.
When we all play, we all win. It's another one of those.
Exactly. You are going to see some more really big games coming to Game Pass later this year.
Name one.
And then Dina goes, from the Activision portfolio, or... And Sarah goes, across the whole slate.
So no.
You're going to see some really amazing games, and keeping that as something that is really special for Xbox players is central to us. So I carefully dissected it. That part where it says across the whole slate doesn't say every game.
Yeah.
But earlier in her message, it says every single one of the games we build day one in Game Pass. That's pretty definitive there. There's not really much wiggle room in that.
Yeah.
However, that was in a separate sentence, and like there was a question
you have to
between.
dissect this stuff politically. I'll tell you the bit that you
just like
missed.
Phil Spencer, where he was like, "Oh yeah, everywhere where Game Pass exists, and now they're on PlayStation, and Game Pass doesn't exist there." So it's all just
it's all just words.
Yeah,
it's just meaningless stuff to make sure the 25 million or whatever it is on Game Pass just keep ignoring their tiny little subscription for $1 for every 2 years or something.
So Game Pass, sorry, Call of Duty coming to Game Pass. Did you want to say something else before that?
There was one thing she said. The last thing about keeping the experience special. What was that?
Yeah, and keeping that as as something is really special. Keeping that as something that is really special for Xbox players is central to us.
The only thing special about Xbox players is the Xbox players themselves. Yeah. Special needs. Like, come on, boys, seriously. Alpha. Like, the worst thing is, like, Game Pass as it is today, like today, forget anything in the future, has a place. There are people that it really serves well, but it shouldn't be the day one. Like, that day and date is not the way to do this, and they keep pushing this, and it's a terrible idea. It isn't there is no world where that's profitable. There is no world where that's profitable. So why do it?
I think the only reason why they're doing this, they've got we know the Xbox make terrible decisions. They make bad decisions left, right, and center. But I think the only way, it must be down to Phil Spencer just being able to pitch something to these idiots above that in a way that just like, he's got a charm. I don't know what it is.
Must do.
The only thing that I can think is that maybe they go, look, we don't sell video games on Xbox anyway. So to Xbox players, it's free on Game Pass. So to get, maybe we can get some people into Game Pass.
There's only 7 of them anyway.
That's the only justification that I could possibly see. I mean, even the latest game, Hellblade 2 came out recently. Yeah. Critically, it's a bit of a mess. It's like, some people are giving it perfect scores.
Yeah, some very high scoring areas and then some very questionable areas. Yeah.
So there's people, for example, there's a guy that I follow who I would categorize as an Xbox fanboy. He came out and said it's awful. It's the worst game I've played in forever.
It's like one of the most visually stunning things they've played.
Visually stunning. Yeah. Everyone agrees it's visually stunning. Cool. One of the best looking games ever made.
We've been really interested in.
Yes, I was really interested as well. But they go, everything else is garbage.
Yeah.
People say that because it's a very dark game, and that's like they've chosen to go that way. There's a lot of like tiki torch burning and like lighting a torch over here. Apparently, for the entire 5-hour game, because only 5 hours long. Apparently, for the entire 5-hour game, you're just doing that constantly, and like slow walking mechanics and moving in places. Apparently, it's quite boring. I haven't played it, so I can't say for myself. But as I said, critically, it's like some people are giving it perfect scores, 10 out of 10. Yeah. And there are some people giving it like 2 out of 10. So there's a little bit of bias, obviously, in both.
I kind of want to play it.
I kind of want to play it as well, right?
Just to know.
It's like what was that movie? Madam Web. Kind of want to see it. I want to see if it's this terrible.
You're the Madam Web. She said the name. She said the thing. Why'd you do that?
I need to experience that for myself and cringe on the floor. Oh no. It's kind of like that situation. But even that game that came out recently, on like Steam, which is like a rough barometer of how many people are like playing the game, how many people are buying
Steam's
the
a
game.
really good metric for
Now, granted, this is on Game Pass, and this doesn't encompass Xbox users and stuff like that. There's like 1,000 people playing it.
Oh, okay, that's a lot worse than I thought it would be.
A couple of things to go with that. Xbox seemed to not advertise this game at all. I think it was like 2 days before they were like, Hellblade 2 coming out on the 26th of May.
That's annoying because that was one of the ones they kept showing in the showcases, and they were like, man, that looks really good.
And they put that one tweet like that, and then that was it. And then all the reviews came out of it. It's like, oh, this is terrible, or this is the best thing since sliced bread, or whatever it was. And I was like, man, they really don't want this game to come out. I don't know why they did that, because it's their own game. It's like, why wouldn't you want to publish it and give it the best chance? Well, perhaps that's the truth. But then also, at the same time, the Ninja Theory, the guys that make it, they're on Twitter talking about how they've already started production on their next game. And I'm like, your game is out right now. It's just come out.
Presumably burning.
Talk about that one. Talk about it. Let people know about it. It's sort of like they're embarrassed of it as well.
Or maybe the next game doesn't have Microsoft oversight, so they know it can be good.
It's really strange. Anyway, the numbers that I'm saying there, if that's any indication as to the general attraction that people have for Xbox, maybe it's just that they're like, look, we don't sell video games anyway.
Yeah. Oh,
fuck it. Put Call of Duty on there, and maybe it'll attract people to Game Pass.
I just figured out the COD thing.
Go on.
They'll copy pasta like the original Warzone stuff, and that'll be Battle Royale, and it'll be new, and it'll come out day and date. And they go Call of Duty on Xbox.
If they do,
day and date,
because Warzone is free. Could you imagine if they go, Warzone's on Game Pass? It's like Warzone was everywhere anyway, and for free.
But they'll rename it. It will be like not Warzone. It will be like Warfare or something like that, and it will be the Battle Royale that you play with the game. You know how like Black Ops 2 and stuff, or Black Ops 3 did it. You know. We get the game, but they have the online. You can pick either the team or the Battle Royale. It'll be that. They'll give you the Battle Royale for a day and date. Call of Duty, it's on Xbox. Aren't you lucky you're on Game Pass?
Aren't you lucky?
Wait a minute. And none of them will question it. None of them will question it.
It'll be very telling at the end of...
Because it will only matter that it was on, that they can play it.
Yeah.
They won't question it.
It'll be very telling at the end of next year how well this strategy is, because... every single year...
You know.
Yeah,
you know.
Every single year, Call of Duty is the top-selling game on consoles.
Yeah.
Just is.
Are we ever going to play another one of those?
Do you know what? I've not ever felt the need to go back. Never, this one is it's Black Ops 6 apparently, which when you hear a high number like that, you're like, for fuck's sake. Yeah. But Black Ops still, you're like, okay, maybe there's
Black Ops 1, in hindsight, I think that's the best Call of Duty we ever played, man.
Maybe there'll be a decent story. Yeah. I heard rumors that apparently they're going to be doing a 9/11 mission.
Oh god!
Which just
do you know what, Hon? That is stunning and brave. That's going to be the next No Russian. Because that's
it's been a while since we had the a terminal controversy.
I mean, not bad. If they do it, if they do it the same way No Russian was done, because No Russian, everybody that didn't play video games like they're teaching kids to do machines. Like, no, that was not a fun thing to do. Like, it was an awful thing to experience, and it was great. They handled it perfectly. If they do that, I would actually be interested, because at least it shows some testicular fortitude.
Yes,
like that would be interesting. And they have to do it right. Like, that's when they can't phone in. It's got to be done right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, even the Xbox, I think, will turn on them.
We'll be like, nope, sorry.
That is stunning and brave. If they do it, you know?
What was I saying before I said that?
I don't know, man. 9/11.
Yeah, we're probably not going to go back to like
I don't see
Call of Duty. As I said, it will be very telling to see, because every year Call of Duty is the highest selling video game.
Easily.
Any year that GTA doesn't come out, basically.
Yeah.
So with the
Calling it now, there's going to be comments saying we got a 9/11 mission before GTA 6.
Yeah. Well, it will indicate two things.
Yeah.
If Call of Duty does dip for some reason, then it's indicating that you guys made a really bad decision because you've sacrificed a ton of profits.
Yeah.
And then we'll have to see what Game Pass numbers say. Or Call of Duty
trust Game Pass numbers.
Exactly. They've been so true to their word before. Or sales are sky high, and then it proves that nobody wants Game Pass no matter what. We just...
What do you mean about
as in
Call
Call of Duty number sales are still high, so people are just still buying it a la carte and not going to Game Pass even though it's available.
If you're going to play Call of Duty all year and that's your game, it's cheaper to buy it.
It makes no sense.
It's cheaper to buy it.
There's so many negatives to this, to like so many reasons why people wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Which a subscription service already has tons of reasons why you wouldn't go for it in any regard. Again, why does Phil Spencer have a job? All right, if they wanted to take a punt. But you've taken the punt and you've seen it doesn't work.
You and me could never have this sort of performance, and
mate, we'd get chucked out of the door.
We'd be in prison
away.
probably. Actually,
it'd be like the Boeing 747 whistleblowers.
We don't have the money for that kind of hitman action. Okay,
we'd be suspiciously
suicide
killed.
with 2 bullets to the back of the head. You know?
Just how it is, you know. It's how
and just go, oh, that wasn't enough. Let me
do another one.
While lying on the floor because you don't want to fall over and make a mess.
Right? Yeah. Don't do that. So stupid. Anyway, I don't know what place to. I don't know what.
I really do
Xbox
want, and I feel like we say this a lot, but I honestly do want to know if anybody has a different opinion. Like, I'm not asking to lay into you. I'm asking because we need the engagement on YouTube. Can you please write in the comments the reason? Because I don't see it. And maybe we're missing something. Like, maybe we are more Sony pony than Xbox sort of thing. Maybe we are missing a positive to Game Pass. I don't think so. I think we've had this discussion enough.
The only positive is consumer side that it's cheaper.
But I don't feel like it is.
Well, it's only cheaper if for example, instead in the very immediate, the very like that day.
Yeah. Yes.
Like
yeah.
70,
cheaper on the day.
A £70 game is now £15.
Yeah.
That's the only positive. And people, the Xbox champions, because I do listen to these people so I can hear the arguments. I do this with everything, even when it comes to like with big Batman vs Superman fans, stuff like that. I listen to all of the arguments, and then over the years of just hearing them and them all being like nonsense.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, clearly I've now deduced that you are talking nonsense.
Yeah, you don't have a point on this side.
You don't have a point. And the only point that they've ever made is that, it's cheap in that moment. Think about it. Games are getting expensive. Imagine if you can buy them $15.99. It was like, okay, but then what happens next?
Can I ask the question of why are games expensive?
Right.
Is it because you have top tier talent, cutting edge technology?
The only thing they'll ever come up with is that it's just greedy executives being greedy. And they're greedy to a point.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But do the people not get paid on the other side? And is that not a cost?
Yeah.
You when you get for example, who's like a big name, Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Do you think he did it for a tenner? Or do you think he did it for a couple of £1 million?
Also, I don't think games are actually, like, if you adjust for inflation and stuff, I don't think they've moved much.
No.
Or they might even be less than what they were back in the day.
The £10 increase, the $10 increase that we did, they got quickly eaten up by inflation that quickly rose after that. So it was like, we're back to square one.
And not even that, but I think, like, I feel like games have been like 40, 50 since we were kids. And if you think £50 in the like 90s, that's a lot. I feel like that's more than way more than £70 now. Way more. It's like double. So,
speaking of price as well, apparently Microsoft are considering increasing the price of Game Pass Ultimate again, and there are internal debates on whether or not they should do it around the Call of Duty release or before.
Right.
If I was a betting man, depending on how strong the considerations are, because I think
they have info that we don't. Is simply
exactly. I mean, they've been willing to lose money all the way up until now. Is that going to continue? Or have they finally had enough and they're like, no, now we're making money. So now's the day
there's one number they're not willing to go down, and that's the number of people on Game Pass. They need that to stay high. Well, maybe this is finally the nail in the coffin. They put the price up and people go, do you know what? It's actually not worth it. Never mind. And then you've got 25, 30 million people that aren't willing to buy your games and aren't willing to pay for your stuff, who now probably just go to Steam, wait for a Steam sale, and pick up indie games that they've heard about, like, I don't know, can't think of any, like for £3 or $3.
Yeah.
That's probably what you have now.
I have to think that, well, it's contrary, because everything so far has not been this. I have to think that there are suits that are like, we've engaged in your delusion for all this time, in the hopes that one day the money comes back. What's the phrase they say? The chickens have come to roost.
Yeah.
The chicken have finally come to roost. Now is the moment that we increase the price of Game Pass.
Show us the money.
As we've got this hit that you told us would bring in tons of people.
Yeah.
And now we want to make money on our investment. We've given you $70 billion.
Yeah. More
than that because of ZeniMax and whatnot. We now want something back. We can't just keep give and put us in this hole. We want something back. I have to think it's going to be when the new Call of Duty drops.
You'd think, yeah.
They're
Maybe
like,
you have to.
Price goes up.
I think you're right.
And unfortunately, a bunch of people are going to turn away and say no.
I'm just worried they're going to come to PlayStation. I don't want them. If you've been with Xbox this long and you like it, like some people are with Xbox because, you know, they got a Series S probably for Christmas 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? And it's what they've got, and then like went to uni and had that with them. This is what they use, and they're like working in a coffee shop for minimum wage 10 hours a week or something.
Yeah.
Cool. But if you've been an Xbox since these last two generations, and you're an Xbox, you're like, no, Game Pass, I don't want you. I don't want you, because you're easily led. You believe random bullshit and probably will come to PlayStation, and then you'll start questioning things. Like, I don't want you. You know, you go somewhere else, go to Steam, leave your bad review for no good reason there, right? Where there actually is a review system, right? Like, go away. You don't want it. You are part of the problem. Because big corporations with a large customer base will listen when, I mean, we saw PlayStation sort of capitulated, right? Like, this could happen, but you're just allowing it, and it's damaging it for everybody. So you guys are the problem. I don't want you. I don't want you. Straight up.
This is crap, man. This is crap. We just want them to be better. We want them to make good decisions. We want them to make decisions that make sense as an industry, as a business, but also have us in mind as well within a certain reason.
Yeah.
Don't act like you're the savior or the hero of gaming and whatnot. Just give us a good experience.
Yeah.
We'll pay you fairly.
Yeah.
And then everyone moves together. We go round together.
It's at every level, though. Like, for some reason, Xbox is allowed to just make garbage. Like the Halo show versus The Last of Us. Like, you can put those two things together. Yes, they're different genres and stuff, but like, how good's the writing? How good is the budget for the visuals? How good is the storytelling? How good is it? How true to the source material does it stay? Right? When it deviates from the source material, how good is it? They're allowed to get away with it with their crappy shows. They're allowed to get away with their crappy games.
Allowed to get away with it with console sales.
They talk. I mean,
last quarter, Xbox was being outsold 5-1 in the sales of consoles and whatnot.
And that's two consoles, which there shouldn't be. And then again, like, you know, they say, oh, we need these small things that make great titles. Well, you have old IPs that you could revitalize, and that would count here. Or IPs that you've tried, and just like Halo Infinite, that's a joke. You haven't made a good Halo since like ODST or Reach, right? Like, the fact that you had the title, like, everybody knows Halo. Everybody knows Halo. Everybody knows that's everybody. Even my mum recognizes Halo.
Yeah.
Which is saying something. The fact that you let that slip, that's not good. You know, it's
and are happy just trundling along afterwards, be like,
right.
Yeah, cool.
So I don't want to hear anything from Xbox. I don't. When they buy things, it doesn't make me think, oh, well, maybe we'll get something interesting. Like I'm not worried about, as a Sony pony, I'm not worried about Elder Scrolls 6 being exclusive. I'm worried about Elder Scrolls 6 coming to the PlayStation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Total Wardrobe. What are you talking about? I was talking about Total War.
what?
Oh, sorry, I typed into the thing. Why? Stop autofilling Total Wardrobe. I don't even know this
What are you
website.
doing?
Leading the fight against clothes moths naturally. What the fuck?
What?
Why is it autofilling that? There we go. Okay. So,
Yes.
to move on from this,
Yes.
we have a couple of decent-ish things to talk about.
Okay.
Okay, this one we'll talk about first. Apparently, Creative Assembly is reportedly working on a Total War Star Wars game. Sounds a little bit up my alley.
Okay, I mean, you do like an RTS.
Yeah,
so
the old like Red Alert days and Command and
Yeah.
Conquer stuff and like Age of Empires and
all
stuff
our
like
base
that.
belong to us.
This might, this might be right up my alley. And Star Wars themed, anything Star Wars.
Oh,
themed
yeah,
is
yeah.
just like fantastic. So that's quite interesting to me. If any of you guys have ever played anything like Total War, I haven't played Total War myself, but
My brother
it's-
loves it.
yeah.
Loves it.
It's like a strategy, like RTS game.
Yeah.
Could be quite fun, especially because, if you're into that sort of game, then it's going to be like fun for you with a Star Wars skin on top of it.
Yeah.
It's going to look and sound amazing.
I just want to produce my droid cars.
Where are those droidicas? God, come on. Maybe there was one.
What are the
thing.
armies going to be? You got to do the Gungans. You got to do the battle droids. You can't. How are you going to do Jedi? You're going to have like 3 units. You're going to have like a Mace Windu running off on one side of the map, a Qui-Gon running off, and that's it. You're out of unit points. Like,
That's
you're
it,
done.
You put like a Darth Vader. He can't die, obviously. So Darth Vader just chopping everyone down.
Right, exactly.
What was that picture you posted of Darth Vader where it's like you're...
Oh, they go, oh, you're surrounded. He goes, all I'm surrounded by is fear and dead men. Such a hard line.
So hard. Oh, God, I love it. This is a bit of a bad one. EA CEO said that they are considering putting ads in their games.
Oh, yeah, I heard about this.
And I love how the internet has like shown what that could be like. It's like they get like a heartfelt moment from like Jedi Survivor. There's a moment where Cal is like looking at Miriam's face and just about to go in for a kiss. And then Burger King ad, get the new Whopper for $6.99. And it's like, oh God, this is what it's going to be like.
Ironically,
This is when we're really looking at the screen.
that's exactly the worst case. Ironically, I think it might be quite not good, but also frick FIFA fans. If they had, the banner ads that run alongside, those should be real ads. Why not?
I think the problem is we've had, like you said, we've had ads in video games before, like in FIFA. But to be fair, FIFA fans aren't really fans.
They're not really people
gamers.
either.
Exactly. Cockroaches. But Death Stranding had monster cans in the game.
Yeah, but that's like a movie placement. That's not like ads in the
Yeah,
game. Do you know, it's an ad in the game. Like, Cause sponsors. Is it Cause that sponsor Fast and Furious? They always drink. Is it Cause that they always drink? Corona.
Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, fine. Or like maybe have a Michelin, like, the only thing I like more than family is Michelin's on my ride. Like, okay, cool.
It is like that.
Like,
It is
fine.
like that.
But what they're talking about, I feel like, is like live ads.
Yeah.
Like, imagine they're
Each
going in for the
loading
kiss.
screen has a...
Moon's face is right there, and then it pops up. Watch Conbrosations if you like.
Now you're talking. Hold on. You're winning me over now.
Yeah.
You're winning me over. This sounds like a good idea.
Do you have ungroomed man hair?
Try a Manscaped.
Like, I worry that it would be that where, like, okay, those are done. The next guy's ad budget comes in, or what? Imagine that happens. It's like the worst. I had an Italian moisturizing cream ad pop up on I think it was Twitch I was watching.
Specifically Italian.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it started. The worst thing as well is I don't know much Italian, but I know
it was in Italian.
It was in Italian.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know much, but I know nitroglycerin when I hear it.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And this guy starts, like the chemist starts with like putting nitroglycerin on his hand and like rubbing it in and be like, Also, by the way, it's going to kill you with a heart attack.
Mildly.
I was like, what is going on with this cream? Like, anyway, and then it cuts to like a more modern day chemist going, mucho gusto, whatever, like moisturizer, whatever. And then I'm like, I'm not your target audience.
I think you've veered off of the path of your target audience.
Yeah, you're a little bit off. I'm watching like an Apex Legends stream in the UK.
Speaking of ads, recently I subscribed to YouTube Premium.
Okay.
I know people have a bunch of people have like aversions to any sort of ad-free subscription service and YouTube and whatnot, but fucking hell, you can't go back. It's one of them damn situations where you just can't go back. I bought it because Isla watches like YouTube Kids and things like that, and sometimes they put up ads in front of stuff, and it's annoying to have to like go there and skip it yourself and things like that. And we was like, I might as well get the fucking family plan and get us all
worth
on
it,
there.
yeah.
And my God, I haven't seen an ad in a while. And then one day I went into one of the other accounts that we have that isn't subscribed to YouTube Premium. And I was like, what the fuck is this? What is this? Why? That felt so bad. So I might be more affected by this when it happens. I'll be like, no, get out of my eyeballs.
I've said a bunch of times, like, I'm pro ads in that. Like, if I'm watching a vlogger or something, as long as they're not, like, ridiculously intrusive, which, by the way, on the PS5 YouTube app, they're horrendous.
Are they? Oh,
horrendous.
Man, I've used it.
They're horrendous. But I'm okay with it. Let's say I'm gonna watch, like, Mr. Vlogger channel, whatever, and free to me for a slight 30-second inconvenience, I get to actively support people doing the thing that I'm enjoying to watch. I don't mind that at all. And... like YouTube Red, Twitch does, I think it's Turbo.
Yeah.
Like, those are actually as beneficial, if not more, to the streamer, the content creator.
Yeah.
So, like, that, I actually don't mind paying to go ad-free in that sense, although I won't do it. I just don't see
it's not cheap as well, so there is that.
And the ad's not that inconvenient to me. But I like those options. And I keep trying to tell people, like, it doesn't have to be us, but people whose content you enjoy, like, take the ad block off for those people because you get to support them for free. By the way, watch our ads, click like on the video, subscribe to the Patreon /
comment a thoughtful comment down below.
It's going to be Alpha saying a thoughtful comment, for God's sake. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
But also I can see how you could be like, oh, cool, you just stop getting ads, and then the second you get an ad, you just like, that's it, blood pressure through the roof.
What makes this totally egregious, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, is that I'm sure it's still going to be a full-priced game.
For sure.
And EA were always the ones, I remember vividly when I first started getting into gaming, EA games were £5 more expensive than all the other games.
Always.
Because they believe they deserve the premium. And I was like, your games are FIFA. Fuck off.
Yeah.
No one cared about your games.
Yeah.
And they've still got that mentality that they believe they deserve more.
Yeah.
And it's just out of greed, pure greed.
Yeah.
And this,
there's no extra value add.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this, they're not going to be like, oh, there's a cheaper version. Like, some people do, like Netflix does, for example, a cheaper subscription, and then you get some ads and whatnot. I haven't seen what they look like. But they're not going to do that. They're going to be like, full $70 game and ads.
Well, also, it's not like that's going to be, it's that all you get, there's games with microtransactions. They're going to have all of it in there. They're trying to wring you dry of money, every last penny. If they could get the copper out of your blood, they would do it. Like, that's the big problem. That is the big problem. Ironically, if it was a small indie game, if it was an indie developer who had made like a football game or something like that, and they were like, actually, we have these ads, it helps support, like, because once people buy the game, that's sort of all the money that I get. We don't get a huge amount of continued growth, so this allows me to continue to do updates. Okay, fantastic. That's actually a really creative way to do it. I'm happy about that, right? But not EA. EA's doing okay, bruv.
Terrible gaming decisions. Terrible gaming decisions. And that's all the... sorry, there's one more topic. What was really funny about this? So, Rocksteady, I think it was, or one of the studios at WB, announced that there's a new Batman Arkham game coming out.
Sick.
Batman Arkham Shadow. And we were like, oh shit, internet collectively lost their fucking minds.
Yeah.
Then we watched the trailer and we're like, interesting. And it's like a teaser trailer, so not much information in it. And then at the very last screen, it says, coming out 2025 to MetaQuest. And we're like, oh, for fuck's sake, it's a VR game. It's not even like the next installment. And we're like, this is the next installment in the Batman Arkham universe since 2015. And we're like, fuck's sake.
Hear me out. At least they're not making a Superman game. Nobody wants that. Really quickly, changing tacks before we do end, because it's a big topic and we haven't spoken about it. Assassin's Creed...
Oh, yeah.
Whatever it's called.
Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Shadows, yeah.
Shadows, plural. There's two shadows.
Yes.
There's multiple light sources, so there's multiple
That's right.
shadows. Yeah. It's set in Japan.
It is.
It's going to be following, what's the guy's name?
Yasuke.
Yasuke. I've never known how to pronounce it.
And Noe. I don't know how to say her name.
Yeah, another person there. They haven't officially said... I heard some people say they haven't officially said who the protagonist is, so people are jumping to the conclusions that it's this guy, but he's kind of like the main on the posters, so you think it would be this guy, right? I mean, Assassin's Creed have never gone, all right, here's the assassin. Actually, it's not that guy, it's this guy over here.
Yeah.
So...
It's not like it's the fish merchant behind.
Right. So I don't know why people are coping and thinking that this is not going to be a thing. But it's caused a lot of controversy online because, well, it's a black guy. And they're like, well, is this...
It's not just that it's a black guy.
Well...
It's the first departure, and this is where I have seen like the most reasonable arguments, because there are plenty of unreasonable arguments.
Plenty!
The most reasonable arguments are, this is the first time that an Assassin's Creed MC has not been from the place that it's set.
That's actually a point, I wanted to bring up as well.
I saw one point that made me go like, actually I feel this, which was a Japanese guy saying, do you know what? For the first time, I understand cultural appropriation. Like if they're in Japan, these guys should be Japanese. And then some guy came in with the worst cope I've ever seen and gone, actually, Assassin's Creed has made the most stealthy MC ever because people have forgot that Noe is Japanese. And it's like, okay, you have this small little girl ninja who is Japanese, who's presumably like, they're going to switch between the two, or you'll be able to pick. But she's being compared next to the very standout 6'7". I think he was massive as well in reality. Like, black guy in Japan in samurai armor. Like, I don't care. Like, realistically, and this is me speaking, I don't care that the other person is Japanese. This person has the limelight, and they aren't Japanese.
Yeah.
And I'm a fan of like all this. We've actually spoken about so you won't remember this, but when we spoke about samurai animes way back in the day, I mentioned Samurai Champloo, I mentioned Afro Samurai, voiced by Samuel L. Jackson, incredible, and Netflix made a show which I still haven't seen actually, based on Yasuke.
Okay.
There are other things because like, well, he's historically accurate. It's like
I've heard some things about that. Like,
that's not actually how the history goes.
He's not actually a samurai, or like they were considered samurais, but they're not actually samurai. Right there.
To boil it down into its most basic, like just to quickly talk about the history. He's, I believe, brought over by Portuguese slavers, African dude, obviously, so he's like noticeably different, stands out in Japan. And one of like the high-ranking Japanese, Toranaga or someone like that, Nobunaga, I think it is, effectively got him as a pet. In the same way that if you've seen Shogun, the Anjin is kept as a pet. It's like, isn't it
like a squire?
He's an oddity. The guy likes him, so he keeps him around.
Okay.
But he's not intrinsically important.
Right.
It's not like if the guy who was like sponsoring him went away, Yasuke would not have had any power or standing. Right.
Because it is like of the times as well. It's like he's a foreigner in a land that is very strict and like uniform. So when he's nobody in that situation.
And I think also he did some notable stuff. Like he's known in history. But the worst bit is because people have said, well, what about if it's after he left Japan or afterwards, right? Because the records cease to exist. The problem is the records cease to exist most likely because there's nothing to report. He was taken back away as a slave, and he likely was in slavery for the rest of his life. It's awful.
Shit.
Yeah, awful. Yeah. But that's why it's not like he went off to do secret missions. He was re-enslaved by, again, I think the Portuguese, and carted away.
Yeah.
Like that. That's not a cool thing I want to be highlighting. That's a really bad thing. One of the worst.
If they did, they would probably entirely make up an original story after that. But like, maybe he was a great thing.
But then why bring Yasuke into it?
Yeah, that's the bit that people bring up. It's like it's a fantastical.
Also, I'm a fan of the history, so I'm a little bit annoyed that
it's a fantastical setting. It's not accurate. Then why are you using real people? Then like,
he would have made an incredible NPC, by the way.
Yeah,
such a cool NPC. That would have been such a fun.
I think it would have been. I'm just purely speculating. No one ever knows whether it would be better or not. But imagine you're playing as like an original character, completely fictional and stuff like that, and then you come across him as a mission or something like that, historically accurate. But like, oh, that could be quite cool.
I saw one comic which is a bit tongue in cheek, but it's kind of legit.
Yeah,
it's like Japanese dudes come up like, quick, someone's been assassinated. Look for anything out of the ordinary. And it's a 6'6" guy towering a foot above the average Japanese who's black, right, in samurai armor, just like acting normal. Like
Nothing.
It's not going to be the easiest stealth mission because I'm pretty sure, I can't actually remember off the top of my head. I think he might have been Ethiopian. He's a really tall dude.
Right.
Like I think somewhere around
stand out a little bit.
Somewhere around 6'6", somewhere around there. And the average height of the Japanese was like 5'5"-ish. Like he's noticeable.
They were compact people.
He's noticeable. So I don't know how that works.
Bring it back to your point, what you just said about there, because I don't. Unfortunately, I don't know all about all the Assassin's Creed games. I've not been the biggest fan.
I'm an Assassin's Creed scholar, so you can ask me any questions you want.
Has there ever been a Japanese setting for
No, it's been one of the big outcries for the Assassin's Creed fans, which is why Ghost of Tsushima was so interesting.
Yeah. So that does bring to your point, that one reasonable point that you're saying and whatnot. It does make it a little bit worse. That the one time the Japanese culture get some representation, get like a setting. It's like, well, we're not actually going to use Japanese person as the main character. Fuck that shit. We're going to use... And it does. We know how corporations are, and they like to pander a lot to people. It does.
It smells.
It crosses your mind that it's like, did they just choose him because they had this one opportunity to go for a person of color?
You know they did.
Even though that Japanese people are considered people of color, because it's like basically anything that's not white, basically, right?
We know what you mean. Yeah. The worst thing as well is Yasuke has some really interesting history.
An offset to this whole thing.
Yeah, it smells. It smells bad. It smells funny, and not like funny, haha. Funny like this fish smells funny.
Yeah.
Like the worst thing is he was interesting. He was involved in these things, and you know what would have been interesting is to have him as an NPC and have him be in connection to all of these points where people are like, maybe I should learn about this Yasuke guy. And it could be stuff that, like, you don't have to go, well, his history is never recorded. Like, we actually do kind of know what happened. It was awful, but you go, oh, maybe there was more to this guy. That would have been cool.
The only issue is that I think, based on what we hear from like the Four Pillars guys and whatnot, Assassin's Creed and historical accuracy in their more modern games, not the best track record. So perhaps they wouldn't have done a good job with it anyway.
I think as well, like, Ghost of Tsushima, right?
Yeah.
Is historically accurate in that it takes place at the right time on the right location. But everything that actually physically happens is bullshit, obviously, right? Named characters don't exist there. As far as I'm aware, there's no one particularly famous that is there. There is the illusion of magic, and maybe you're drugged a bit, but like it's in there. I don't mind that it's not a historical piece.
Yeah.
Right? What I mind is that it is perverting it for what seems to be to get rage bait and to like tick boxes and for people that don't care while upsetting everybody that does care. Because the thing that bothers me the most, and it's Ubisoft, so I have no faith in them at all, is that I suspect they may have done this to cover for the fact they don't have much story.
Perhaps. That would
be my guess.
When it comes out. But
I hope the game's good.
Yeah,
I want the game to be good.
This is the thing.
Yasuke is a cool character. There are documentaries about the dude. It's interesting.
I was going to say
it's really interesting.
Unfortunately, because it's Assassin's Creed, I'm probably not going to play it. I've not played many Assassin's Creed games, so I don't know why I would start now.
I don't plan to play it.
Yeah. But if some miracle did happen and I did play it, I would hope it would be good, and it would be really interesting to hear about Yasuke. Is that how I pronounce it?
Yeah.
Yasuke. Would be interesting to hear about his story, and hopefully it's done in a way that is semi-accurate, so I can get a true feeling of where it was and what he did and whatnot, which should be cool. Do have to mention as well, there are people out there that are being entirely unfaithful to bad faith arguments and whatnot. Some people, there's like any spectrum, there are extremists on both sides.
You just don't like it because he's black. You're an idiot.
You don't like it because he's black. It's because, and other people
I only like it because he's black.
Exactly. It's just both ends of the stupidity are speaking for the entirety of gaming. And it's like those people. Like a lot of things in life, you really need to ignore those people. They're not the voice of the people in the middle who are just looking for a good game to play, or people who have a reasonable disagreement with whatever's going on. You need to ignore them. They need to not represent us all.
It's so sad because Yasuke would have made such a great, not just empty. Do you know what? It would have been cool to do a mission where you're Yasuke, you take over Yasuke for the mission.
Yeah.
Like just as a game, forget the animus, all that crap. Right, and you have to like stealth through a Japanese castle, sort of going unnoticed. You're kind of supposed to be there, but you're in areas you're not supposed to be in. You're not easy to, miss.
Yeah.
Like overhearing stuff, trying to not be heard. Like as this giant dude, like
what I'm imagining, at least anyway, is like, so when we was having discussions about Cyberpunk 2077, and we're like, wouldn't it be cool if there was a Siri mission or something where we popped up with Siri? This is the kind of thing that I'm imagining with this. Yeah. Like, you're the traditional samurai, Japanese samurai, everything's going great, and you're going, and then you come across this one mission, and it has the guy, it would be the Siri, and then you have this mission together, and it's amazing, and it's a blend of story,
perfect.
and then everyone talks
chills.
about.
I'd love that.
Right? Wouldn't that be so cool? And everyone's like, oh man, that Yasuke mission, did you know he was in the game?
What would go really hard is if you're the reason Yasuke gets taken away. Ooh. And then like think about how many people are going to be Googling what happens, knowing that's a real character. Then all these people find out about this incredible piece of history, this incredible standout event of this dude who's like so impressive that someone basically tells, these traders, you can't have him as a slave anymore. I like this dude. So he's mine now. And then he's like, cool, you're effectively a samurai. You're going to hang out with me.
I know this is far beyond the scope of anything that Ubisoft could ever do, but couldn't you imagine if he's like, you're the reason Yasuke gets freed from this, like, or gets sent to the right person anyway to learn to become like,
and then he comes
skilled
back
with the sword and whatnot. And then later on in the story, he comes back, you go for a mission, and then in the end, he becomes this huge thing. You see him start a family with his. I think he starts a family with his
history.
wife.
That would be cool.
All this wouldn't that be so cool? But unfortunately, they need to be able to put it on the poster and to be able to sell the point.
They do. And also, for the record, just because it's like based in a historical event, I don't have a problem with the game being like an Inglourious Bastard situation where it just completely alters history. Like that's okay. Make it good. Inglourious Bastards is good. It's good fun. Make it like that. And then we're okay.
There you go.
So I'd like to know people's opinions. Also, unfortunately, it looks like the female character, I can't remember her name, Noah, something like that, has been completely overshadowed by both literally by the 6'6", African dude, and two by like the conversation. And people are trying to dunk on the people that have a problem with Yasuke by saying, well, you forgot about this. It's not that she's been forgotten. She's being overshadowed.
She's being intentionally
very clearly
overshadowed.
Yeah, like the conversation is being focused on the other guy. She's being overlooked.
Yeah.
So it seems very. I'm not sure where I stand because I'm a fan of the history. I'm a fan of Yasuke, I guess, if you can say that. Like, and I'm a fan of doing ninja stuff in Japan. I don't know. It feels disingenuous. That's what the problem is.
Yeah.
Let me know if you think I'm wrong or if you have a different opinion. I'd love to hear it.
Yes, please let us know in the comment section. All right, that's all the gaming topics we have to talk about. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and being supporters of the show. If you guys haven't already left a like, then leave a like on the video. Leave a comment below as well with your thoughts on some of the topics. And if you're new around here, subscribe to the channel because it helps us out and helps us grow.
Much love.
I'll catch you in the Conbrosations podcast, which we're going to record right now.
Right now.
Where we're going to talk about all kinds of. Oh god, there's some stories.
Oh god,
it's going to be great. It's going to be great, guys.
Patreon exclusive.
Yes.
Some of it anyway.
Yeah, the second half of it, but the first part public on the Conbrosations After Dark. Go check that out. All right, catch you in the next one, boys.